What's up, Star Wars fans? Welcome back to another episode of the TK423 podcast, where today we're going to be continuing our Star Wars film rankings with rank number 4. Now, again, for a little bit of a recap, I'm going to throw up the graphic again. Number 11, we had Rise of Skywalker. At number 10, we had The Last Jedi. At number 8, we had a tie with Solo: A Star Wars Story and Attack of the Clones. At number 7, we had The Force Awakens. At number 6, we had The Phantom Menace. And at number 5, we had A New Hope. And with this first ranking being ahead of A New Hope, this is going to be very interesting. We're going to dive into it. So without further ado, let's get into this.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
So, coming in at number 4 is none other than Rogue One. And this can come to a surprise to some, but for me, I feel like it is much deserving of this 4th ranking. And even hopping A New Hope, I feel like it had so much to offer, especially seeing it in theaters, seeing everything like that for the first time, seeing the Darth Vader hallway scene sends chills down your spine every single time. And today I have a guest speaker that is going to help me dive into why Rogue One is one of the best Star Wars films ever made. He is a huge Star Wars fan like myself. He is my best friend. He is Dustin Brown. Dustin, introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? My name's Dustin, avid Star Wars enthusiast, Rogue One fan.
Absolutely. So, what is it about Rogue One that puts it above the rest? What is it? Because me and you grew up in the same time period of, the prequels and, getting shown the original trilogies and, so what makes Rogue One that special to you?
Well, I mean, you got a well-written movie, from director Gareth Edwards, and you got Tony Gilroy on it. I mean, it took the time to write a good story. You got a great costume work, which I'm a sucker for costumes, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't beat, the live, set locations. Like that, I love it when they actually go film on location, and they just knocked this one out of the park, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely paying homage to the original trilogy, right? It gives you the original trilogy vibes that a lot of Star Wars fans starve for nowadays. And that is something that The Force Awakens hit on, right? Of doing that, very traditional style of filming on sets, not a lot less green screen, right? And I feel like Rogue One was a breath of original trilogy fresh air, I guess you could say, because people that grew up on the prequels were able to see something that was reminiscent of the original trilogies in theaters. And I think that was personally an awesome experience. So if I remember correctly, Rogue One is indeed your favorite Star Wars film. Is that true? Does it hop Empire Strikes Back in terms of enjoyment in your mind?
I guess I can relate better with Rogue One. I mean, I wasn't alive when Empire Strikes Back, came out. So I think that's really why I love this movie so much, But Empire, it's Empire, man. You can't.
Yeah.
It's hard. But I love Rogue One, yeah.
I mean, I think Rogue One it can be considered your modern day Empire Strikes Back, right? Because, with the way that the film progressed, the way that the vibe was throughout the whole film, it was very dark, right from the beginning, right? When you see the Death Troopers and they mean business, right? Because it's the first time you're seeing them and you're used to seeing stormtroopers who can't even hit the broadside of a barn, right? So these Death Troopers introduced us to a more viable option than the stormtroopers. And then on top of that, having Director Krennic come in as your main villain, and you see his relationship with Tarkin and how it is so conflicted, and how it's kind of like, oh well, I'm doing this. Well, no, I'm doing that. Well, it's Death Star is my project now, honey buns. So Tarkin did kind of do Director Krennic pretty dirty, but that brings me to my next point: is having his deep fake on Rogue One, and then having a Princess Leia deep fake on Rogue One. I wanted to get your opinion on how that impacted the movie, whether it was a greater impact, or was it to the point of even if it was really necessary. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the whole thing with them doing a deep fake where Peter Cushing. First of all, Peter Cushing was dead in '94, so I mean, they didn't really have a choice if they were gonna do that or not. But Peter Cushing and Carrie Fisher deep fakes, they're just showing off the technology. I mean, this is like one of the first films that come out that was using deep fakes that were actually like legit. I mean, especially when you're looking at like the last Star Wars movies or last Star Wars films. You got Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, and Revenge of the Sith with the CGI. I mean, it just come such a long, long way. And they were trying to tug at the heartstrings. Like
Yeah.
everybody got chills when they saw Peter Cushing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like you're like, oh my! Like I remember when we were in the movie together. Like me and you, we saw the movie together, and I was like, I think I grabbed your arm, and I was like, what the heck, man?
It's Tarkin. It's Grand Moff Tarkin. Like,
yeah, it was just freaking nuts.
yeah, because
even Carrie Fisher, when you see her, you're like, holy cow, man! Like I got goosebumps right now. My hair is just standing up on my arms.
yeah,
Wow.
that's the thing, is that when people see that in theaters for the first time, and the fact of it being the last time you saw Peter Cushing as Grand Moff Tarkin was in 1977 in A New Hope, and granted, you didn't see him after that because he perished with the first Death Star, but it was surreal. It was mind-blowing, and it was truly, an experience like none other. And I think, like I said earlier, it paid a very hefty homage to the original trilogy. And then to top it off with how it transitioned into A New Hope, literally seconds away from the beginning of New Hope, with the Darth Vader hallway scene, trying to get the stolen Death Star plans back. Seeing, Jyn Erso and Cassian on the beach hugging each other as the Death Star just blew the entire doors off of them. And I thought that was poetic. I thought it had a lot of meaning. And at the end of the day, when I was sitting in the movie theater and that happened, right, and that explosion happened, I was like, well, that's it. That's it. But then you start to hear the and then you hear Darth Vader's breathing, and you see that lightsaber. Now you're like, oh dang! And I remember just going absolutely nuts when that happened. And it was a surprise. I did not think was going to happen.
Well, that's the first time you actually see like a scary Darth Vader. Like
Yeah.
there was actually like some like, holy cow, this guy's not just this stiff robot that, like walks around. I mean, you got like a serious force. I mean, you could see it in that movie. That's when you like finally get a realistic like, oh, this guy is kind of scary.
Yeah, because like you said, he is kind of portrayed as, the slow-moving, heavy hitter kind of style fighter,
like the Terminator.
Yeah, exactly. And then you see him in Rogue One, and he's moving all fluid. He's choking. He's swinging. He's doing everything, and it was truly amazing to see.
I wouldn't want to be caught in the middle of a hallway with that guy coming in.
No, much.
I might be able to run away from A New Hope's Darth Vader.
Well, and that's a big thing too, that a lot of people were questioning, of like, how was Darth Vader able to move like that in Rogue One, and then in A New Hope he was moving very slow with Obi-Wan Kenobi's fight. And my perspective on that is that last time he faced Obi-Wan prior to the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it being canon, right? Before that, the last time Obi-Wan and Darth Vader had met was on Mustafar. So I feel like when people criticize that scene compared to the Rogue One hallway scene, is that Darth Vader was skeptical. He was very patient because the last time he faced Obi-Wan, he got clapped. And he got basically molded into the machine he is now. So,
and also, I mean, we're not. I mean, we're not. I mean, I guess we're kind of talking about it, but I mean, if you want to bring in like Obi-Wan series, I know it came out after the fact, but that also can confirm that because he's got to be patient. Even in that film, he was just so he's just going.
Yeah, he was filled with that anger and that hate that he had towards Obi-Wan, but I mean, due to the poor writing of that show, it was kind of misrepresented at times because he let him go a couple times. So it was like, come on, make up your mind. Do you want to kill him? Do you not want to kill him? Do you want to toy with him? But at the end of the day, that end scene of Rogue One was phenomenal. I thought it was the perfect cherry on top to a legendary Star Wars film in Rogue One. And like I said, I feel like this is very deserving of rank 4, hopping over A New Hope. I know that's hard to do. But at the end of the day, that's the ranking. And Dustin, do you have any final thoughts on Rogue One?
No, it just shows me like if you put actual work into a movie and you sit there and I mean that's also why I initially enjoyed Force Awakens and stuff. I just like it when people put time into the movie. Like take your time, put the work into the movie. You get these awesome costumes, great sets, and also great writers. If you get the writers that do good work, I mean, especially like the Gilroys. I mean, God, I mean it's just a
fantastic
the older
job.
generation, man. The older generation can relate better to these movies. I mean, Rogue One is not. I feel like, an adult would enjoy that film better than a kid would. And Star Wars, it's fairy tale land.
It can at times cater more to kids than we realize, but
not Rogue One.
But not Rogue One, because Rogue One, like I said before, it had that dark element to it. It's the modern day Empire Strikes Back. It's got, where the bad guys, even though it may not seem like they won at the end, they did win because, like, the Death Star plans got stolen, but at the end of the day, everyone died.
Oh yeah,
everyone died.
Fairy tale. It was not a happy ending at all.
And you kind of knew that going into the movie, but because
they touch on it, right? They talk about the spies and lost their lives and all that. Not Rogue One, in New Hope, they talked about that, but it is awesome.
Who knows? Maybe we'll get a movie about the Bothan spies. From that we hear about on Return of the Jedi about the second Death Star. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a Rogue 2. No.
Rogue One.
Return of the Bothans.
Hopefully they're a little bit more original than that.
Yeah, and hopefully they have a little bit better character design than on Battlefront 2. But
I mean, they did a great job with Felicity Jones and Jen Erso and Diego Luna.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think they had top tier acting in this movie. It was perfect.
Well,
I mean, they had great character development. This movie, man, nothing's dry, nothing's slow. That's probably why I like it better than Empire. I'm just gonna say it. That's probably why I like it better than Empire. Like, I understand you need character development in Empire, but Luke training for what it seemed like 30 minutes of the movie, which is a lot, man. And I mean, and you got to have it. I understand, but I mean, Rogue One is just non-stop.
Yeah, and you're projected towards a climax, right? You're going to get that climax that's why I was saying, like, what you're getting yourself into. with Rogue One, and you know what's going to happen. And you're thinking none of these people, other than obviously Tarkin and Vader, you see into the original trilogy. Like other than Mon Mothma, you don't really see Bail Organa in the original trilogy at all. But
Saw Gerrera. I mean, well, yeah.
Yeah. But if the original trilogy was remade, which it will never happen,
Yeah.
but if it was, then you would see Bail Organa, you would see Saw Gerrera, you would see some of these characters that did survive. But at the end of the day, it was a perfect bridge into A New Hope, and you know it's a movie that you really there is not a lot you can complain about. And it's one of those where you can continuously watch, whether you're watching it casually or sitting on the couch, eyes glued to the screen, analyzing everything. You can do it any day, every day with this movie. So that will do it for our rank for Rogue One. And tune in next time to see what rank number 3 is. That's going to be interesting, folks. That's going to be interesting. Thank you, Dustin, for coming on today on the TK423 podcast. I hope you have a wonderful day, and salute. Thank you. May the Force be with you.